Oh hey, welcome to the channel. I'm Drew Campbell. Today's video, how to make your own graphics. We're going to show you start to finish the process. Everything from design and concept to printing it, laminating it, cutting it, and installing it, all in this video. Here's how it's done. Now obviously for this part you have to have some type of design background. I actually have 25 years experience with Photoshop and Adobe's editing software, but never put in a lot of time with Illustrator. So this is still a learning experience for me, designing within this software, and as the software grows and advances, I want to grow with it. So bear with me. I'm not going to give a tutorial on how it's all done. I'm just going to show you where we start, and that's with choosing the background graphic itself. And the race car industry tends to use the same type of graphics that we use in the ATV racing industry. So that's where I started. I found this cool design on this car that I really liked. And as you can see, we can select just the background of the graphics and bring it over to our template. And these templates are designed for your four-wheeler specific. So we're looking at my Can-Am Renegade, and I'm going to apply this background graphic to certain parts of the fender. And I have to copy one side onto the other side of the four-wheeler in a mirror so that it matches going up both sides of the machine. And it's kind of, like I said, a learning experience designing in Illustrator where I have to lay out the graphics so it makes sense when it's laid onto the four-wheeler. The four-wheeler lives in a three-dimensional world, and right now on the computer I'm designing in 2D. So planning ahead is going to be a task in itself, as well as design and flow and colors and logos that you lay out on the fenders. We want everything to look nice, so you can see that I have to start with this background layer, and then I can add my race sponsors, all the logos in from there. There's quite a few this year, so I went with a white highlight for all of them. They're all decked out in white unless they have a red in their logo naturally. I kept the red in there because it kind of matches the graphics themselves. And you see this pink layer here, that's the actual cut line. So you want everything to fill up inside that cut line, because when it's printed out, you don't want to have any border or edges showing. You want it to go right to the edge of the razor mark where it's going to be cut off. Alright, so that's my 2023 design I came up with. This is based off of my FXR race kit that I plan on wearing for the season. I wanted to match that theme, those colors. It's kind of got whites and yellows and greens and reds in there. So those are the colors I used in this graphics kit. I think it came out real well. I'm working with 725 Designs again this year. Todd's treated me real well in the past. I'm excited to have him as a sponsor for my race program this year, and we're going to take it over to him for the next step. He agreed to let me design it, but I don't have the printing capabilities, so that's where he's going to step in and help. So let's head on over to Todd's shop. All right, so we've finished up the design process here, and Todd's going to kind of take over. At this point, he's got to separate all your different panels and stuff that go on the four-wheeler into smaller sheets that can go through the printer. So that's what he has to do now. Is once the kit is laid out, he then breaks it down, puts it in these smaller boxes for printing. Alright, so Todd is going to put in a small piece now into the printer just to test colors that are coming off of the graphics kit. Why do we do that?
We just want to make sure we get it close to what you want, basically. It's kind of hard to match certain kits to certain four-wheelers unless I have the plastics in front of me or I've done one before. So yeah.
And the reason is, from my understanding, is what looks green on the computer screen might be a different green after.
Exactly. What looks green on my computer could look blue on your computer. I mean, the screens are different. Every printer prints different. So
that's why we do test print.
We just want to test print to make sure Drew likes the colors that we're getting. So
because it's all about Drew.
Yep. So it's 6.15 inches wide. So as long as we don't go over that, it'll print what we want to print. So this is what we're going to print just to test all the colors. We got some trying to get more of a fluorescent green, yellow look. So we're going to just test these. That's really what we're looking for to make sure it prints right. So right there is what we're going to be printing. brings it in. There's different quality settings. You can change the resolution, the print resolution. So we got plenty of room here to print this. We're gonna center it on that little piece. Then we're gonna hit go, and it's gonna be ready to print. Then we hit start. It rips it, and then it sends it to the printer. It prints pretty fast too.
And when you say rip, what does that mean?
I'm not sure exactly what it just takes all the data from that file and tells the printer what to do with it.
Gotcha.
Wow, that's a little smaller than I thought, but at least we can see the colors. Is that too green? Should be more yellow, shouldn't it?
Let's take a look. Yeah, that yellow I'd like brighter. That dark one's fine with me.
Okay. Yep, we can.
Just want to try to make that pop. This is why we're doing test prints, so you can actually see after it comes off the printer.
Yeah.
What we're working with.
So that's that green and that green.
Oh, we didn't even get.
So we didn't even get that.
The high one, yeah, and that's the one we want. We want to see what that brighter one is.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah.
So if we'll print that one. It's the same as, that's just a scrap piece of the vinyl that I use for the kit. So that's what we're going to be printing on eventually. Supposedly every vinyl prints different too. So you got to test the vinyls.
Yeah.
I use, no, it's called Substance. It's specifically made for ATV and MX graphics. It's made in the USA. They're out of North Carolina and California. So that's pretty much what I use for everything, decals and everything anymore. I got rid of other brands because I like this brand. It's a good brand. After the first couple times I've done them, I've figured out think cost for a kit, how much vinyl I'm using, and so I have a standard price pretty much. I don't charge extra for adding all the sponsors, and everything's under one price. It's top kit is the first price, and then there's add-ons.
Sure.
You can add hand guards, mud plugs, under the front fenders, whatever you want, and I custom design it to your liking too. So
the ink is probably your biggest expense.
The vinyl is quite pricey. But yeah, the vinyl and the ink, they're the top two, yes.
So if anybody has a sticker shock when you see the price of your graphics
Right.
kit, please know that there's expensive equipment going into it, there's high quality material made in the USA going into it, and the ink is expensive as well. So all that has to be taken into consideration.
And I don't use cheap vinyl. I'm not going to put something out there that I wouldn't put on my, my four-wheeler. I want good quality, and I use, some of the best vinyl out there, I think, for the kits. It's a 6mm vinyl, 15mm laminate goes over top of it then, and it's pretty darn durable.
And like I told you, my kit from last year still looks brand new.
Still looks good, yeah. Stuff holds up.
Yeah, that's the difference between a good-looking graphics kit and one that looks like crap after 2 races.
Exactly, yes. Yeah, these kits should last you a year. They stick really well to the plastics.
They obviously hold up to all the mud and crap we're throwing at them.
Yes, yeah.
That's the top layer. That's how.
Hydropressure, I tried blowing them off with our hydropressure, and I couldn't do it. I peeled the edge up and took the pressure washer right to it, and it wouldn't budge it. So.
Okay, so we're just trying a different panel off the graphics kit because the first panel we selected didn't have the brighter of the greens. And that's kind of what I'm looking for, is that bright green.
Still
my FXR kit. All right, so we finalized the color. I stepped out into the light because obviously sunlight is going to make these yellows and greens pop a little bit different than the fluorescent lighting we have here in his shop.
That is correct.
So his objective now is to get all the panels of the graphics kit onto these individual sheets to send through the printer.
Yep, we got to tear everything down now, lay everything out so it can be printed. Then it has to dry for 12 hours. then laminated, and then we run it through the cutter to cut each individual piece out. So
now, is laminating done by hand, or you send that through a machine?
no, I have a machine over there now, 63-inch laminating machine that I use.
About how long does it take you to do a 450 kit?
Somewhere between 4 and 5 hours, depending on the amount of sponsors.
And that's just the design process?
That's just the design process.
All right, so once we're done the design process, how long is it going to take the printer to print out a 450 kit?
So before it even gets to the printer, I got to do this. So 4 hours to design it. You're looking at sometimes almost an hour, 45 minutes to an hour to rearrange everything to print it.
Oh, wow. So you've got some time in front of you just to get my kit organized here. Okay.
Printing it, a whole kit, anywhere from 15 to 25 minutes, I'm going to say.
Okay.
4x4 is a little bit longer because it just has a few more pieces to it.
Like 20, 25 minutes to get through the printer?
Yeah. There's a lot of time.
It's extensive work.
Yeah. It's a lot of time.
You have your first sheet that you laid out everything on, and then it'll just automatically go to the next sheet?
No, I cut every sheet off. It's almost a puzzle you got to put together when you get the kits, because I try and use as much of the vinyl as possible. So that's sheet number 1, so that wasn't too long.
And I saw you had it numbered there.
Yeah, so what I have to do to cut these out then is make sure I get the right file. So I get
and match it up. So 1 cuts 1, 2 cuts 2. Yeah.
So when I do multiple kits, I label each kit with a number so I can go back and say I need number 1 for this to cut this, so it cuts right.
Sure.
So that's why I started numbering them.
So that puts a clean cut across it for you?
Yep, it cuts it right off. And good to go.
And then just set it out to dry.
Set it out to dry till tomorrow. I got Drew's kit all printed out last night. There it is. I got the 15 mil substance laminate for over top of it. So we got our laminator right here.
I don't see the sparkle unicorns I ordered.
I didn't do the sparklies for you.
All right, we're just gonna go with a gloss.
We're just going with gloss. I think that's gonna look the best on these.
And in the sun, that gloss really helps.
It makes everything shine, and those greens are really gonna pop.
Yeah, it's kind of a matte finish when it comes off of the printer, so that gloss overlay.
It is somewhat, but they do make a matte vinyl also, and next to this, it would really look matte.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is still shiny compared to the matte vinyl.
Sure. But that gloss coat just enhances it.
Yeah, it's really gonna make that thing pop on the 4-wheeler out in the sun.
And is it like a heat transfer?
No, it's just
sticks on it.
It's just sticky vinyl, and the rollers just put weight on it, and that way you don't get air bubbles or anything in it. I'm gonna take the paper backing off.
I was gonna say, as you start it, you must have to start the peel process.
So there's the laminate. Pull the paper backing off, get it nice and tight, and cut the paper backing off. Then you hit run on the machine and watch it go through.
Oh wow, it immediately makes it look much shinier. Now what other types of laminate do you offer?
On the graphics kit, I can do matte finish, vinyl and laminate, the gloss, and I have I forget what it's called.
It's like glitter, right?
It's like a glitter. Yeah, it's a sparkly glitter. I can look it up here.
So if you've seen like a candy coat out in the sunlight, kind of gives you the same effect.
Yes, exactly. Now, same thing for the other side. Just get it started. There's the first piece done, laminated. So that would go off to the cutter then, and cut every piece out. So that'll be the next step. So just keep laminating for now.
Yep.
So now we're at the cut process. We got to cut every decal out individually. So there's a program on the computer that actually sends the data over here and cuts each sticker out, decal out for the kit. There's different blades for different material. For the thicker material with the 15 mil lam and a 6 mil vinyl, I use a 60-degree blade and force of 500 grams downforce to cut through this stuff. It's tough. This is just really thick, and I slow the speed down on the cutting too, just so it cuts nice. The thing will cut fast, but with this thick of material, you should slow it down. That way it's not ripping. It's just cutting really nice. So I'm setting up the registration marks right now. So then I have to go over to the computer, pull up file 1, and send this to the cutter. So always look on the screen here. We got sheet number 1, which we have sheet number 1 in the cutter. So there's the design. So there's no cut line showing up right there. So right here is a cut line. We'll turn that on, and you see that pink line. We cut off all the graphics, and that lets us the cut design. And so now we select all this and we send it to our cutter. Our cutter will then read all these registration marks. So we hit plot, and that should go to the.
And is it looking for that?
Yes, yeah. There's a laser in there, so it's looking for all these marks. And if you come over, get a little lower, you can almost see that red mark.
Searching for those.
Yep,
marks.
it's reading those marks. It's telling it how square it is or if it's off, and then it's going to go in there and cut the lines per however it read all those registration marks. It's cutting the line. You can barely see it there. It's about a quarter inch. Yep, so it's cutting this first decal out, then it'll move to the next one and work its way across, depending on how everything's laid out. Okay, so we just took this off the cutter, so each decal's cut out. So now we got to weed, what's called weeding out all the excess vinyl that's not necessary. It's not a hard process, it's just a little time consuming. Everything's done, it's weeded, and I'm gonna get ready to pack it. So I just use some paper. Hold it together. All right, so once it's taped up, we throw it in the box. Drew wants to do the install himself. We do it for an extra charge, but he wanted to do his own kit and give it a try. So we're gonna box it up for him.
I made it back up to my shop. Really had a great time working with Todd down at 725 Design headquarters. Thank you so much for hosting. I've got a blank four-wheeler behind me ready for some new stickers, and those stickers are laid out on the floor. As you guys saw, when Todd printed everything, he lays it out so it uses the least amount of material. It doesn't necessarily mean it's gonna be the way it goes on the quad. So I took the time to cut each piece out so it looked just like the design I originally started with on the computer, laid it out on the floor so I have an idea of where everything is gonna go on the machine. The machine is ready to play on. I've got brand new over tires on it, and I wanted to hang up my 23 jersey in the back so you can kind of see that was the color theme we were going for. Those yellows, reds, greens. The greens, it's debatable if it's bright enough. It matches some of the FXR and the 100% gear. Out in the sunlight, it gets brighter. It's hard to get these greens to look fluorescent when you're printing them onto this vinyl stuff. So Todd did an amazing job getting it very bright, and I think it matches that kit really nice. So without further ado, I'm just gonna jump in and start putting these stickers on the quad. There it is, the graphics kit installed. I am beyond excited with how it came out. Looks awesome. It was actually pretty easy to install as well. There were a few pieces that were a struggle because of curves and seams and stuff, but for the most part, I'm real happy with how it came out. I'm real happy with my install. Todd does make things easy with leaving you some relief creases in it, but as you can see, like, you still kind of get a little ripple in some point, but he gave me a relief cut right there. So small imperfections like that really don't bother me. It's a race quad. Aside from that, everything fit really nicely, and the quality is amazing. Very thick vinyl to work with, and surprisingly for its thickness, it goes on the machine without any issue. So there it is. Kind of looks like a big Skittle or a bag of M&Ms, if you will. I went with a lot of color this year because, as you can see, the kit has a lot of color in it as well. We tried to match those colors best we could, but it's so hard when you're printing on vinyl versus when you're printing on clothing. These colors all vary depending on the material you're putting them on. So we got as close as we could. I'm very happy with it. I can't wait to see it outside in the sunlight. We've got some rain going on today, so I'm going to keep it parked for now. But as always, thank you guys for watching the channel. Be sure to hit the like and subscribe button. Follow 725 Designs on Facebook. And as always, I'll see you guys at the races.